On May 10th, 2009, an indie developer by the name of Marcus Notch-Persson began development on a game where he initially called it Cave Game. Being inspired by games like Dwarf Fortress, Infiniminer, Dungeon Keeper, and one of his own games, Ruby Dung, he took the course of a week to implement the basic features such as a level generator, few simple block types, physics, placing and destroying blocks, and more. After he felt he got the basics in place, 1 week later, on May 17th, the project was open to the public, and before release it was called Minecraft Order of the Stone, but after release, it was simply called Minecraft. What only started out as a small indie title, it's then without a doubt one of the most impactful games in recent times, maybe even of all time. So much so that it currently holds second place of best sold game of all time, trailing behind Tetris. It should speak volumes that with a game like Minecraft, it managed to make its way into pop culture, having a selection of merchandise, and even having an annual convention dedicated to the game. Whoever thought that this game from the indie scene would blow up this massively? I don't even think that Notch expected this level of success. There's something about the game's visual design, mechanics, and the music that evokes such positive feelings, especially the feeling of nostalgia. And I'm not talking about feeling nostalgic now, I mean ever since the game's inception. That's something unique I ever felt with any game I've played, and I feel compelled to share my stories with you all. So in this video, I will be showing you through different time periods some of the adventures I've had with Minecraft. Now keep in mind, this is more talking about the experiences I've had, and less about discussing the mechanics, the design, or the notable additions/changes to the game. So I'm just going to put on my nostalgia goggles and enjoy myself. Everyone, for the 10th anniversary, these are my Minecraft memories. The alpha version is where many, including myself, first heard about the existence of Minecraft. Prior to this, the game was in development for about a year. Then, during the development period between June 30th, 2010 to December 20th, 2010, this is when YouTubers start to take notice. Videos of the game began popping up everywhere on YouTube, grabbing people's interest, cueing the discovery phase of Minecraft. And this spread like wildfire, causing many people to buy the game and just see the amazement of it all. The charm for this time period is just with how everyone was curious what the game had to offer. What was strange starting out is that the game did not have a built-in tutorial to tell you exactly what to do. Some say that's a flaw of the game for not including it, and I can understand that could annoy some players, but the lack of it, I think it works. But let me explain. When you have the game that is designed to be creative, adventurous, and new at the time with no tutorial, the player would have to find a video or a forum post to learn more and interact with others on what they discovered. This is one aspect that I believe that added to the appeal of Minecraft and the growth of it. And all it took was just a few big YouTubers like CNanners, Ethos Lab, and Pulsaurus Jr. to get the ball rolling. I myself also found out about the game through YouTube, and I know exactly what the video was that got me hooked.
Hello, gentlemen and maybe one lady. We're playing a game called Minecraft.
Yeah, it doesn't look oppressive now, does it? For those of you that don't know, this here is Jay, and he hung out with me, Mike Latt, and Canned back in the day, most notably when we did that Diablo 2 Let's Play.
Yeah, well, you missed out on Teletubbies. The favorite part about that show for me was the little suck-up machine that would, like, suck up the purple poop and then...
What the hell?
I'm not joking.
What kind of show is this?
I didn't even make up the show, dude. Come on.
Oh my god.
He eventually got around to making videos of his own, and he just did a simple update video that just showed Minecraft in the background. And I was like, what is this vibrant looking Lego game? I like it! So I went straight to the Mojang store, bought myself a copy of the game, and from there, my journey began. This was all really exciting for me on what can possibly be done, how creative can a player be, and to survive and thrive. A lot of props go out to one YouTuber in particular for making the experience all the sweeter. David Angel 64, better known as X.
Hey guys, welcome to another video. And you're probably asking yourself, what the heck is this? And yeah, you are 100% right to ask yourself that. This is Minecraft.
This is what helped solidify my experience. This specific series that, even though it was done in a very simple way, it has left a huge impact because this is an example of when he and the viewers watching were discovering this game together. And I don't think there has been any other game that I've played in recent memory that involved that level of passion and interest. Even many years later, people who grew up with Minecraft cites back to this series on how memorable it was to them. It became a precious time capsule. So after playing it for a little bit and watching videos on it, I came to the decision that I want to do a Let's Play. God, it feels cringy saying that today in context of Minecraft. But at the time, I knew this would be something fun for me to try. So what can I do to stand out amongst other Minecraft Let's Plays? Oh, how about we throw in the engineer from TF2 into the game? So yeah, my attempt was to start with a Garry's Mod animation where the engineer was just minding his own business, and then I happened to send a parcel to him to saying like, hey, come join the game with me and we shall be rich together. And he was like, heck yes! Then hooked up the teleporter straight to the game, and then there it happened. And the gimmick to this whole thing is that as I was playing along, the engineer would occasionally say voice lines in response to what I had to say or to things around him.
Don't push me, you dang pig.
Pork drippings.
And the idea seemed good at first, but this eventually bit me in the butt later when I realized it was pretty tedious to do the editing for that. Kinda. Also, the other problem was that for this game being this primitive, there were no concrete goals to the game. There was no, like, Ender Dragon for you to fight and there's the long-ass poem for you to read. Instead, the goals can only go as far as my imagination, and my imagination was still growing. Also, there were a couple of real-life things that was happening at that time that detracted me away from the game. So unfortunately, with only 8 videos in, the series stopped and the videos were removed. I honestly wasn't really proud of that series as I felt I could have done better, but I had the urge to do it at first just because of how amazing that everyone was involved and I wanted to contribute as well. Besides, looking back at those videos, they were kinda cringy.
I in my pants.
Oh god, no! Ugh! So, aside from that failed attempt of a Let's Play, I continued with the Minecraft experience by stepping away from the single player mode and to tackle the next and probably best part of the game, multiplayer. Why go on an adventure or to build alone when you got other players being involved in the world? This was something I was spending a majority of my time on during the next major version of the game, as well as later versions down the line. Best part is that I'm not alone. Friends that I've played with in other games began to take notice as well. This will eventually lead to what I say is my favorite memory above everything else in Minecraft. It's now early 2011 and the beta version is well underway. People within my circle didn't take long to jump into a couple of worlds to build various things, some of which contain dirt towers. You can probably guess who I was playing with. Yeah, MikeLat was also into the game at the time. But to make things better, a website has been trending amongst gamers as of late. Before it was called Twitch.tv, it was called Justin.tv. So, MikeLat got the idea to gather people within his community and to run a special livestream event on May 28th, 2011, with Minecraft at beta 1.6.5.
Hi everyone. Say something if I'm recording.
Yay, spam already in the chat.
Yay.
This is arguably my most treasured memory in Minecraft. I'm playing with people I know, playing with some new ones, being our wacky selves, creating structures and settlements, interacting with the chat room. This was the moment that not only cemented my fondness for the game, but it also served as a catalyst for me to start streaming myself. Yeah, this game, this event, and this man right here is what got me into streaming months later, and we'll talk about that soon. There were in total about 5 streams that Mike has done showcasing the adventure of this server, and even a couple of videos that I've done myself on my channel with the server lasting for at least 2 months. To me, that's pretty impressive, and it goes to show how interested we were in learning the game. To give you an idea of how much fun the streams were, well, here's a summary of the map. The adventure began with everyone spawning in and going about our usual resource gathering ways, and the people on the server and in Ventrilo were packed. Most notably, you got Mike, of course, there's me, there's Canned, and...
Time to go down.
Oh, lightning!
Oh yeah, Gom was hanging with us at the time. Yeah, shenanigans didn't take long to start. Most notably Can being his trolly self.
Uh-oh.
Holy shit, Creeper.
You blew up side of my house.
Even if it's by accident. Mike got around having to build random things as well. First one being of a sniper rifle, it's to be expected. And then he made use of it by using as a railway station, where you just shoot right out of the rifle and then you go through Jello Man's house.
What the hell? You could go around, you know?
No, we have to go through.
Okay, that part is pretty funny. As for everyone else, the houses range from being decent to plain to hobbit hole, which was mine. Yeah, it sucked, but luckily there's going to be a change of plans since it was only day one. So let's jump over to the next day where things get a lot more interesting. So Can's antics have gone a bit too far this time. How so? Well, he had like multiple pits of fire just hidden in the ground everywhere.
I get it.
I see.
Ken, your f***ing hole, I just fell into it.
Oh, seriously? Awesome.
And he also put TNT in Mike's house.
He was hiding behind a tree like he's playing hide and seek or something.
Ken, did you make an
So
explosive
why is it gonna be
thing
British?
at the bottom of my thing?
Why'd you ask?
Yep, that brought Mike Latt out to the deep end and having to go full admin abuse to troll everybody by having to wall up spawn with obsidian, so that people have to go through the nether by force. And the funny thing is that almost everybody was helping Mike with this, which defeats the purpose of his trollish plan. It's good. Unfortunately, there was also some mid-haps having to create up the nether portal since there was already another one built nearby and it kept glitching out as heck everywhere, until eventually a new portal was built out of just completely nowhere where they decided to go ahead and explore, and they broke out to the surface where they happened to see a bunch of unexplored terrain of hills and valleys, and everyone pretty much agrees that it looks awesome. And we immediately began to migrate over to now what we call Dirt Tower Land, and it's become the main hub of the map. Later that day, we decided to go ahead and try out some pre-made maps to shake things up a bit for the stream. Tried some mini golf, walking through a carnival, parkouring on a Mirror's Edge style map, and some mystery map. It ultimately ended up being boring because most of us just started TNT in the place. Quality. For the remaining streams showcasing the map, we've created much more better homes, contraptions, and of course, dirt towers.
This is apparently supposed to be his or something.
We even randomly got Jay on the server to be a guinea pig for some of them.
Push the button.
There you go.
Whoa. Pretty pimpin'. Oh, what the
Meanwhile, there was another player on the server who had other plans for his work. Galm. He painstakingly walked thousands of blocks away from spawn to build the Nation of the Burning Red, as he calls it. Most likely using admin abuse, he constructed many cobblestone walls. I don't know how else to put it, but it was certainly better than what we could have done because he had too much time. So how might visitors come to see this nation? Why, building a rail track through the nether, of course. And that became an adventure in and of itself. No thanks to the gas, and no thanks to Darwall here.
Are you on top of the f***ing glass? They're shooting at you, you f***ing idiot.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Get out of here.
Boned.
As complicated as that was part of the fun by struggling to get things to work. All the while saying random crap like who watches My Little Pony.
I'll make a bridge. I got it. I got a brotato.
Just don't say brony.
Shut up, brony.
Oh my god, I am anti-fapping so hard right now.
Apparently one guy by the name of Sinencio just mortally hates it. And Mike took advantage of that.
Listen, you watching the stream?
Yes.
Do you see what I'm doing?
Oh, come on. What are you doing? I thought we were past this. Wait, are you making My Little Pony pixel art? Was I right?
Yeah. Hi.
You know, that's, you know, I'm actually lying. I love kitties. They're like, oh, I'm fuzzy. I hate you.
Hi, Ken.
Me? I hate Mike. He's a cheating piece of shit.
Ironic we kind of talked crap about My Little Pony when months later I started watching it. Funny how things work. So all these good misadventures, mishaps, it's all been great so far for the server. But nothing can prepare you for the most evil thing that Mike and Cand have ever made. The horror simply known as the Test. What started out as a wall of obsidian around the spawn has transformed into a building down to bedrock where newcomers to the server must complete a series of tests to earn their freedom. It begins with jumping down to the bottom to see platforms over lava where you must jump and climb your way to the top. Back then, there was no sprint option, so you barely had enough speed to get to the next block. If you succeeded, you will see the next challenge, the memory test. A grid of pressure plates where you must find the right path to the other side. Step on the wrong one, you get a fire arrow in your ass. Any more, and you die, and it's back to the start. The next challenge, the quiz. Have you been watching Mike Lat's stuff and hanging in the forums? Well, then you probably know the answers. Otherwise, you'd be forced to take a dip on the wrong answer. And as a little bonus, if you happen to get to the last question and answer that wrong, well, it's back to the start. It's about as good as dying. And then the last challenge, the lava maze. Hope that you're careful and not claustrophobic because you'll be wandering around for a good while. But if you manage to survive all of that, you'll finally be free. As a little bonus fact, there was enough room in the building having to do one more challenge, which could have been the water maze this time. Fortunately, they were too bored to even do it. Once you finally stepped outside, grab yourself a minecart and take a tour of the old settlement all the way to Dirt Tower Land, featuring multiple dirt towers, Mike's mountain lair, Sin's house infested with pony signs, Adam's big house on a little tree, and last but not least, my humble abode.
Now we see the main house. This is where the magic happens.
This here's my compact workstation, complete with, I think, 16 double chests. There's a playpen for the dogs here. And here is my mob evader.
Yeah, this is how he gets all his items. He's a dirty, filthy cheater.
And down here is the mushroom farm, designed to keep it mob-free. Everything's completely filled.
Tons of mushrooms.
And now this is what I've been working on, mostly.
Where's this go?
That's my mining shaft. This goes all the way down, but I use it to go up. This is the quick way down. Goodbye, I'm gonna die. And this is where I branch mine.
Uh-huh. Cool. That's how Wiki rolls.
You wanting more? I'm glad you asked. Let's head back to the station so we can ride path to the north for about 2 minutes to a smaller settlement. But we're just there to go ahead and hop on to the next track, which happens to be the next and last biggest thing accomplished, which is a overworld track to Galm's Nation. Even though that there was a track to the Nether, someone along with Can decided to go ahead and create this very, very long track to Galm's Nation, which takes about 7 minutes to get there. Obviously, that was done with admin abuse. And here at last is Galm's Nation, which this is about as close to completion as we're going to see here on camera. I'm sure there was more work put into this after the fact, but I wouldn't know. But it was still a very impressive job. So it goes without saying that this is my favorite map I've ever played on. There was so much stuff people did on it in about 2 months. And the sad thing is, I think it's just lost forever. There was a hint that it was hosted in the forums when it still existed. Some players, including Galm, might have a copy of the map, and I even thought I had the world seed for it. There was actually a unpublished video that I made where I had a client-side mod that showed the seed. But when I tried to load up a new world with that seed, it looked nothing like the original spawn. I'm sure it had nothing to do with the updates changing it, so my guess is that the map must have been mishandled at one point. I believe there was somebody else that was temporarily hosting the map, and I believe when that happened, it caused information to be lost in the process. And that honestly makes me feel heartbroken, as I really wanted to explore and show you guys about the map in much better detail. But the most you can see after those streams were my 2 videos on the Overmind and the TNT Cathedral. We also have the aforementioned unreleased video where we built a giant guy taking a leak in a giant toilet. And it's unreleased for obvious reasons. Anyways, with how near infinite the seed generator is, this map has unfortunately been lost to time. But our adventures don't need to end there, nor did the development of the game. So let's skip on over to another important date, September 14th, 2011, where Minecraft Beta 1.8, the Adventure Update, is released. And another stream event took place, and this time, Mike wasn't streaming alone. I was too. So this here marks my first ever stream that I've done. Unfortunately, I was not able to archive it because of how unfamiliar I was with using Twitch. But Mike's stream was preserved, containing a picture-in-picture of my stream as proof. Now, as for the adventures on this map, it wasn't as long as the previous one, but there were still many projects that were implemented, such as the Kingdom of Wraithtaker Sucks, with a dirt tower, and for my settlement, Wicktown. I was also in the middle of making a railway system that connected to both settlements, with a pretty neat station that I learned from a video. We even made a recreation of E1M1 from Doom, complete with secrets. So this map here, this one is definitely pretty good, but it was not as big as the previous one. And from here on in, while still having some notable moments, things began to change in a rather different way. So with the official release of Minecraft on November 18th, 2011, there's definitely a lot of things to cover with the amount of adventures that we had with this, as well as the many versions above it. So for the sake of this video, we're going to keep things brief and to the point. So one day after the official release, it's time to rinse and repeat. Not much interesting things happen on stream, whether it being on Mike's side or on my side. We started out creating a community house and living there until everyone was ready to move out on their own. Mike and Ken, on the other hand, went out early and happened to claim a mountain for like the third time already. Geez, I don't know what they're more obsessed with, mountains or dirt towers. So much like the previous map, it was good, but not great. However, unlike the previous maps or future maps shown here, I actually do have a copy of the map, which we can have a better look at. So right here you can see my house, looking all symmetrical, with a animal pen on the outside, and a basement that leads down to my own personal mineshaft. Here you can see Community Island, complete with an animal barn, a farm all along the outside, and inside there's multiple chests for anybody to take some supplies, as well as a complimentary room with a bed. Heck, you can even go ahead and enchant your stuff here if you wanted to. And this here is Mike and Can's Mountain Lair 3.0, complete with a wall full of furnaces. Geez guys, you would have been just fine with just 9 furnaces. Geez, learn how to stack them better. And out this way you'll happen to see this here cactus tower next to an upside down pyramid of birch wood. I think that was Cadlos. And this here random house, which I'm going to proceed on doing this. Can, if you're watching this, you know whose house this is, and it feels good to have revenge. Jumping ahead to January 14th, 2012, 2 days after 1.1 was released, here we have the next map. And this one really fell flat on its face. Apart from Mike having to build this giant blimp, the world was not as interesting looking, and boredom was starting to seep in for some of us. Most namely Canned. Granted, he came in late, but he didn't want to really play unless he was given to creative mode. But he bit his tongue and decided to play along as normally. That is until Mike did this. And so Can went on a rampage with creative, which prompted Mike to go to creative, and then me. Yeah, what soon followed was the shortest map we've ever played on. We just ended up nuking everything and spawning several ghasts. Yay! Then afterwards, yeah, we agreed we need a new map, and the next day we decided to start from fresh. And I proceeded on streaming that part too. While I say that the first bit of that stream that happened was not all that interesting, as I just settled in a snowy biome, Mike popped in during the latter part of it, and they happened to find an island. which I decided to go ahead and migrate over. And I wish we had more streams of that one too, because that island ended up pretty interesting. Like someone tried to recreate the floating lands like in the game Bastion, and Kedlos decided to go ahead and troll Mike by having to take a copy of his house, put it upside down in the air, and just have the entire blocks be made of watermelon. And somehow Ken got blamed for it and got his admin powers removed. LOL. Anyways, from here we could have continued with the trend of starting a new server with every new patch release. But then, it hit me like a ton of bricks when I discovered mods. So from here, I took matters into my own hands and host most of the later maps. About a month later, I've hosted the first modded server, which includes some of the staples in the modding scene such as Buildcraft and Industrialcraft 2, the latter being the very first mod I've played personally. We may have been slow at first, but it was really interesting. Too bad the initial stream of that modded server had to be cut short, because I do remember getting an upset stomach, and about 20 minutes after the stream ended, I was like, "Help me, Jesus!" I seem to recall that there was another stream that I did on that map, but I think it got eaten up by Twitch at one point and just became unrecoverable. However, there was one other moment that did happen on that server, and Kedlos happened to get that on video.
So, melon farm. Complete, glorious, lots of melon. Let's check this shit out. I'm recording at 1 frame a sec. Oh god, I can, like, not navigate. It's a nice touch having a f*** over everything switch. Like, I mean, understand, I didn't design this expecting this. I thought it'd be like, oh lol, a few seconds of lag. This is too much. This is just too much. I can't handle this. This is amazing and I love it. Oh, nice, we reached the end of the timer, so it all just vanished, and now I can move again. Oh wait, no. What the hell? It's just,
no,
it's invisible.
Yeah, it's phasing in and out. It's actually just not loading correctly.
So I learned something today. I need to not build to this scale.
There was also one other guy by the name of Marn who played with us as well, and I wanted to show off his stuff because this guy knows how to design well. Fortunately, we do get to see some of his work on the next server that we did on version 1.2.5 on April 28th, 2012. This is where modding and server features were taken to the next level. From designing the spawn area to the town hall, adding NPCs to trade with, interesting biomes with trees galore, preparing maps like this was a fun endeavor. Once again, it was too bad that my stream ran short for this one just because the upload speed was getting really capped from hosting and streaming at the same time. I can't really say for sure how well the map served for everyone, but I think it turned out alright. But now, I wanted to try something a lot more grander for the next server, and one person had an idea. With the help of Kedlos and a couple of others, we have built what is called Whitewood Castle. The backstory on this castle was that during the 1.1 server, Kedlos and his friend, White Rhino, was hard at work laying down the foundation. Then, the creative rampage happened like I mentioned before, and there was one person who, I'll just call Voldemort, that blew up their land without remorse, and it upset them greatly. So, as a way of making up for them, we made Whitewood Castle the spawn area for the next server on August 22nd, 2012, and this one turned out to be a really interesting stream. And it's not just because that Mike was also back into the saddle for this one, but there was also one other person that tagged along with them in unfortunate ways. Who was it? It was this gym bag. Everyone, this here is Jack. This here is an old viewer of Mike Ladd's, and he has returned and partaken in many shenanigans, including this one. And he kept stealing the show. He was constantly trying to interrupt Mike several times by getting into his house and then either ended up getting killed in some way or getting teleported to Voldemort to do some dirty work. These moments were definitely good and all, especially since Mike decided to go ahead and give these here mods a try. Unfortunately, I think I did a really bad job with having the abundance of mods all around, and it was giving him a hard time, especially when he's trying to find just normal seeds. And finally, about 5.5 hours later, we finally decided to hang up our hats and then call it a day, considering this here stream complete and well done. Unfortunately, little did I know that this was going to be the last Minecraft stream that Mike has ever done. From this point on, the torch was basically passed on to me for providing Minecraft to the community, and for each iteration had a different set of mods, with a different set of moments, like playing doctor with the world and failing. But as time passed, a problem was starting to arise. the community that I've once played with was starting to fade away and losing interest. And throughout this time period, I've tried my very best to keep them all interested during 1.4.7, 1.5.2, and what I consider to be my very last attempt being on March 17th, 2014, on version 1.6.4. Upon entering the server, as you witness the spawn, you'll see upon the wall 4 murals indicating key moments from our past servers. The test of beta 1.6.5, the Kingdom of Wraithtaker Sucks and Wikitown of beta 1.8, Railgun Island of 1.1, and Whitewood Castle of 1.2.5. I've been hyping up this server for a long time, and plenty of people showed up for it at first. Heck, even Mike showed up during the latter part of it. But after day 1, almost nobody came. What happened? Well, I believe the problem was this. Everyone was growing old of the game, and I was stuck in the past. I was getting so fixated on either reliving the moments of the past maps or trying to create moments to be just as good as them. But a lot of my efforts were in vain. Matter of the fact is, people's tastes change. We've seen a lot and grown accustomed to Minecraft that the enjoyment of figuring out what you can do or discover has been spent. It was becoming a been there, done that sort of game, which was part of the reason I started implementing mods to my servers. It became life support for the game. I was still trying to savor the moments with Minecraft, and I didn't want to do it alone. I did continue with a few friends from time to time, but in the end, future playthroughs was solely done by me. I felt like I became a sole survivor of Minecraft for the Railgun Rangers, which has since then been defunct. It feels kind of sad that I've been staying with this game for so long that I don't want to abandon it. And at the same time, I have moments that I just rather be playing something else. Everyone else caught on to that and has since then moved on, but for some reason, not me. I have not touched vanilla Minecraft in years and purely stuck with mods for the rest of the time, and I do enjoy them. In fact, as a way of showing my appreciation for the game, I even thought of doing a Let's Play reattempt with mods and have to write down a story as a unique way of telling my experiences. But that was such an ambitious plan that with someone with the full-time job and how YouTube is already saturated with Minecraft, it really wasn't worth doing. So this ultimately leads me to this video on Minecraft's 10th anniversary. I wanted to do some sort of outlet in expressing the moments that became so dear to me and possibly serve as a sense of closure. Because if I don't share them, it'll be in my head and I still might be in the past. It really is true that nostalgia is a powerful thing, and there's no sense in holding them back. It's meant to be a positive feeling and not always melancholic. So I say, embrace it and share it, just like the people that first discovered the game. So this is what this game means to me. It exemplifies a way of being creative, adventurous, funny, and even with friends. And it's moments like these that I'll never, ever forget. And who knows? Maybe one day we can have one more hurrah, just for a day, to celebrate the good times.